Hello and welcome. Today I want to talk about my 1 year review of the CyberTool Lite from Victorinox. This is a 91mm platform multi-tool, and I've done a review on it already, going over all the features. Today I want to just talk about the experiences I've had with it and why I like it and why I continue to carry it and why I would recommend it to someone who's working in the electronics field or maintenance field. So here on the table we have the CyberTool Lite, and this is the latest model with the latest module here, the clear module. If you're looking to buy this, it's important to note on Amazon they do sell the most recent model, so if you're looking to get one, Amazon's a good place to get it. And you can see in the picture, just slightly in the picture, that there is a clear module. That's how you know you're getting the latest module of the CyberTool Lite, the latest iteration. I think this is from 2019 or 2018 when they decided to update the module. There's several other revisions which I have talked about in other videos if you want to check it out, but that's important to know if you're looking to buy one of these. So what does this have? I'll go over the tool set briefly here. So we have basically the slotted screwdriver here on the tip, the can opener portion here, and we have our bottle cap opener here and a bigger slotted screwdriver along with a wire bender. We have the magnifying glass here, and we have the light module here, which takes 2 batteries that you can easily replace and find on eBay. And that's the light. You can either have it on constant on or a momentary on. Next up is the primary tool of the unit, and this is the bit driver. It comes with 4 bits, one in here, they're double-sided, so 8 bits in total, and it has this holder for the other 3 double-sided bits. So make sure you push these down when you're using it so you don't lose the bits. Next to it we have a pair of useful pliers for small electronical work and for small tasks to get into deep dark crevices and smaller places that a normal pair of pliers wouldn't fit. These have the needle nose in the front here, or they're not necessarily needle nose, but they're thinner on the front here with small teeth for gripping. The regular pair of pliers in the center here with the bigger teeth, and a very, very small wire cutter, like we're talking very, very small in the center here, and a wire crimper here in the back, and a replaceable spring here that's not heavy or heavy duty or made for heavy duty use. So we have that there, and then we have the world famous scissors, which is one of my favorite tools on a Victorinox. These are buttery smooth. They're extremely sharp right out of the box from the factory, and they are very reliable. They still have that replaceable spring here, which tends to break from time to time, but you can easily buy one and replace it. So those are the famous scissors. And next to it we have the famous pen blade. And this is a nice implement tool. I try to keep this as sharp as I can and use it minimally, where I can use other items to open a box or other things. And then we have a backup knife here too as well. And this has a lot of lint in here because I do carry it in my pocket quite a lot, and I do have to go through some cleaning with this particular knife soon. So those are the tools on the inside scale on the front, or rather the top if you will. There's some more tools in the back here. We'll go over the small awl or tool with the eyelet, sewing eyelet here, so you can use this for puncturing leather and whatnot. So they still have that in this particular model, which is kind of interesting, it being more geared towards an electronic specification. Next up is the hook, which is also a nice multi-tool use item. You can use this for holding parcels, obviously, which is what it was designed to do, but you can carry bundles of wood with this. You can undo knots. You can hold camping pots with it so you don't get your hand burned with the hot handle, etc., etc. There's plenty of uses with it. Next up is the corkscrew here with the included eyeglass slotted screwdriver. And in this scale, it's a little bit dirty here. We do have a stainless steel pin which comes out of the scale here. I'm not going to pull out fully, but it's right there. And you can use that for clearing stuff or poking things or just getting to hard to reach places. And I do have a modification with this particular model. Normally in the outside scale we have tools. In this model I took the toothpick out and I replaced it with a ferro bar since I plan to use this outdoors a little bit more. But other than that, I would say recommend keeping the toothpick in there, because when you work with electronics, sometimes you want to poke and prod and stuff and you don't want a conductive type of implementation, like a metal piece to short circuit your board. So I would use the toothpick to probably do that if you wanted to. Next up is the pressurized pen. Always good to have a writing implementation to write down notes when you're doing electronical work. And finally, we have the tweezers, which is really good for grabbing small items or getting to small spots for cleaning. Sometimes I'll take my tweezers out and I'll clean my Victorinox with them. I'll close them up like this and just gently go around and get out all the fuzz and stuff. So it is a good cleaning tool for that. And that is pretty much it for the tool set on the CyberTool Lite. Now, I've noticed that some people say that when they carry theirs in the pocket, their light tends to go on. I have not found that issue with my CyberTool Lite when I carry it in the pocket. My front pocket is my front right pocket is where I carry it. It's a big pocket too. What I also do is sometimes if I carry it in my pocket, I'll take this little lanyard I have, right? I have two spaces here. I have another hook thing that hooks onto my belt, and the hook goes onto here, so it doesn't lay in the bottom of my pocket, but all the dirt and stuff like gets into, so it doesn't gum up my tool. Kind of sits somewhat in the middle of my pocket, which is kind of where I want it. So that's generally how I tend to carry this tool in my pocket. I have carried it without that, obviously, in my coat pockets and whatnot, and has worked pretty well. I thought about getting a sort of sheath for this, but I don't want it to be too bulky, and the idea is to just carry the tool itself, and it has worked out pretty well. I do use the light quite often, actually, especially at night. If I'm just looking for a light and I don't have one of my EDC lights on me, which I usually do, but if I'm for convenience sake, this is the first thing I feel. I can turn it on, turn it off, and I'm not worried about running the batteries down, as I can just replace them easily, as the replacement batteries aren't that expensive for it anyway. So it does come in handy. This light module on this particular one, the newest one, is the strongest variant of the 3 different variants that we have for the light modules. And I did a video of that a while back, so you can check that out and see the differences. But this is the model we want to get, and it is practical, more practical than the previous iterations. And the nice thing about it to note is I do use this when I'm taking apart laptops and I have to see the screw come out. I turn on the light and then I can use my driver here, and I can see if the screw is actually turning physically or not. So that's invaluable when you're working on smaller electronics and parts and things like that, to see exactly where you're shining and torquing the screw head. So that's important to note with the CyberTool Lite. So it's definitely something you want to grab if you're going to be working in IT, building and taking down electronics. I use this to take apart my laptop, to put in some new RAM and a new hard drive recently, and a couple other things, and it was perfect. It's just a perfect tool to have instead of carrying a whole tool bag with specialized tools. This one actually got the job done, and the bits here, I haven't run into any of the Torx bits or the D-sub connector type bits yet, but I suspect in the field of electronic work you will run into those. I mainly use the Phillips head driver sizes and the slotted screwdrivers, and this has a variety of different ones too, not just in the bit driver here, but also on the outside scale too, which is good for light duty prying. I wouldn't use this for any heavy duty stuff. And I will make a note that these pliers get into places that my normal pliers wouldn't get into, and they actually do a good job of holding on to the fasteners or whatever inside of say a desktop piece, or a desktop computer, if you will. So it does help out quite a lot. You can do a lot with this tool, just this one tool here, if you don't have your toolkit with you, and that's why it's valuable. And that's why I tend to carry it, because I tend to have this in a setup of a more at-home urban environment. I have used this, I have carried it on trails, although it's not as functional as, say, the Swiss Champ multi-tool, which is about the same size, a little bit thinner, I would say, than this. I would probably say the Swiss Champ is a better outdoor tool with the saw and other tools that I actually use a lot more of when I'm out in the trails. So this one is still useful, still good to have a cutting tool, and a light. The light thing makes this a really nice feature in my opinion, and why I would recommend it to anybody who's looking for a tool. So that's all I pretty much have to say for my year review. It's definitely something worth buying, in my opinion, that I've used it for a year or so, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody. Thanks for watching, you guys, and enjoy your day.